Okay, it's Monday and I'm heading off to work, but I haven't checked the oil in this thing in quite a while. Because, well, for the first week or so, it hadn't looked like he was using any oil. But two, it's a real pain in the ass to open this hood. Now, I was originally planning on putting some kind of a hood latch here and then latching it to this, which I would have to reinforce it because this is really flimsy. Unfortunately, I just figured out this is really flimsy too. You can see how far it's separated just from having it strapped. I had it hooked here. I don't even see how the hell the factory hood latch could be strong enough. And so I was gonna run hood pins here through there, but I don't know that they're gonna be long enough. So I don't know. I don't really want to run hood pins, but I don't really have much of a choice at this point. Now the other problem is I've noticed this thing was leaving puddles of oil. So yesterday I left it here because I didn't want to risk driving it without checking the oil. What I have found, I know the valve cover gasket's seeping some, but not terribly. But as you can see, if you look down there, that's a lot of oil. And I did notice that this cam plug was leaking. I stuck this little rag there, and it is completely saturated. That's a lot of oil. Huh. So, let's check the oil and see how bad it is. Okay, that's not so bad. It's just above the add line. So, we weren't in any danger. Now my new dipstick should be here today or tomorrow. I have to use pliers to pull that one up. So what do I do about this? Well, I thought I had some silicone somewhere. Maybe. I know I've got a brand new tube of some expensive stuff that I don't really want to use yet. But I thought I had some ultra black. Might pop that plug back out, put some goo on it, and then put it all back together. That's a brand new plug, so it shouldn't be leaking. Okay, let me do something with that before I gotta leave. Happy birthday to me. My brother's pretty awesome. He picked this up for me. Okay, I got my genuine, authentic Honda dipstick, but looking at it compared to my old one, I'm having serious doubts about its authenticity. So here's the original, about a 1/4 inch wide. You know, there's the knob that broke off. You got green O-rings. You got this hole in it. It's got that M on it. I don't know what that M means, but it doesn't say Honda anywhere on it. Now here's my genuine replacement part. As you can see, it is roughly half the thickness. The length is correct, so it'll read correct. Black O-rings, you see this hole here. Now that one goes all the way through, locking it in place. This one does not. It's just a hole. You got a hole there too. So I don't know. I am having serious doubts about this being authentic, but I did order it specifically because it was supposed to be a genuine Honda part. So counterfeit? I mean, I don't know why somebody would counterfeit a dipstick, but
people are stupid.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, alrighty, I got them in. I'm not super enthused about having them in general, and I'm really not enthused about the way they went in, but they're in. They're not going to go anywhere. I still need to drill these holes. These plates are really thick, but I still need to adjust this side a little bit. That will annoy the crap out of me. I got them with the cables so I don't lose them. Muscle car, yay. Anyway, that's it for the night. I'm going to get started again tomorrow. and see what we can get done. All right, got my replacement seatbelt unit in, so we're going to go ahead and install the passenger side seatbelt and then get busy on a couple other things. Well, in case you haven't noticed, it is raining. So far, I'm dry. Although, I came out this morning and there was water on the floor mat pretty close to the center console. So I'm really hoping that that idler thing that I built for the where the old wiper motor was, I hope that that isn't leaking. You see, I got a little water dripping right there. Not super bad, but I don't think it'll stay outside there. Yeah. Now, I went ahead and parked it kind of facing downhill, so that way if that thing in the cowl is leaking, the water will be farther away from it than less likely to leak. Plus, well, the trunk, that corner seal in the trunk that needs to be redone is probably going to leak, but we'll see. Anyway, so I got another speedometer sent to me because the other one was 3 miles an hour off, and it quit after like a day and a half, 2 days. So this thing here. Well, this one I put in, I plug in, I turn on, and it's working, but it took forever to turn off. Okay, no big deal. So I go down the highway, and that one's 2 miles an hour off, which is livable. You can live with it. But I get to work and park, and then I come out like 3 hours later, and it's still on. Oh, and so I stopped at the gas station to get my soda, and leaving the gas station, it doesn't work. It just reads 0. And so I get here, and then 3 hours later, it's still on. So screw it. I mean, it was $25. It's not the end of the world, but it's still $25 I could have spent on something else. I did go ahead and spend $20 on a GPS speedometer, like what I have in the golf cart. Yeah, like that. And so that one ought to work and do what I want it to do anyway, instead of using the OBD2. So, I think I'm doing pretty good here. Well, a few more leaks. On that window, there's supposed to be a weather strip between the aluminum and the body, and there's nothing there because that window was busted out. Or actually, that whole thing was missing. I had to take that one off the 61, that whole extruded aluminum. And I don't think there's anything else dripping really bad. This is bad enough. So if it's leaking over here on the outside, so that would be the Rambler rocker, that's not too big of a deal because it'll drain down those holes and go out the outside of the car. If it's leaking on this side, on the Honda side, it's going to get down on the floors, which it looks like it might be. So this drip will stay on the back side, but that drip is going to leak on the inside and maybe there. I don't know. Back window seems to be pretty sealed up. I don't know, let me see. Yeah, and I figured everything on the doors would be leaking just from there being no seals up here. The water running down the glass. and the shape of the door being like that, it's gonna hit the inside and then leak inside. So I really need to seal this all up, but I gotta wait until it's done. Of course, this door is gonna get replaced, so. But you can see it's dripping on the outside there. I'm dripping off my speaker, that's not very good. I think it's leaking down that corner there. And this side too. Got a drip on the seat belt. And that's all on the outside. So that's good. I don't see any water back there. That all looks pretty good. All right. So one thing, too, check this out. So putting in my Gentex mirror, I got it wired. Well, I got it wired up here, and I've got some wire running down. Some pretty cool stuff. I don't remember how many wires are in it, but it runs down the A-pillar, and then I'll wire it up here. One thing I did not notice, I have 2 of these mirrors spare, and I have one of them I put in my Jeep. These 2 I have don't have the thermometer. They're just auto-dimming, so I need to go find one and get it in here because I really want to have the thermometer. I like to be able to monitor things. Ooh, that's something dripping on my leg over here. It might just be coming from the window leaking down, but I don't see anything leaking in the windshield. That was one of the jobs I did this weekend. Is I taped off the windshield inside and out, you know, or the glass and then the frame, and then I just barely cut the tip of the window weld and ran it up in the body to try to fill the voids, and I got some of them filled, but not nearly as many, and it was really, really hard to squeeze that thing into those cracks. But it doesn't appear to be leaking here anymore like it was. I go out and check the voids, but I don't see any water on the inside of the windshield, so I don't think it's leaking anywhere. Whatever is leaking onto my pant leg, I don't know. It might have just been from my pants sitting down there and the water running down. But yeah, that ought to drain out. I don't see what's leaking here in the cowl, so I think we're okay. Okay, so I moved the vacuum hose, the source for the gauge here, and like I thought, the shaking went away and the values actually went up. So we're sitting on about 19-20 inches of vacuum, which is where it should be for idle, roughly at this altitude. And so before I had it mounted to the purge valve hose, let me show you. So that's the purge valve, the purge solenoid, and that's where I had it mounted. So I can only guess that this thing would click on and off, on and off, on and off to purge, and that was affecting the gauge. And so I cut it here on the power brake booster hose, but then the gauge, you started up and it went up kind of slowly, and then you revved it, it didn't drop, but it went up when you let off the throttle, and it stayed up. And so you got this little bulge right here in the hose. I thought was just part of the molding process. Turns out there's a check valve built into the hose, which frankly I've never seen before. I've always seen them external, usually at the master cylinder or in line. So that, I had to cut it and put it out here on that side of it, which as you see now is reading higher and it's reading steady, and we're good. So one of the other things that I found. So we're at about 1,000 miles now that I put on this car in the last month, 4 weeks, I guess. A couple little things have popped up beyond the normal, you know, restoration project stuff. So you remember a week or so ago, this bastard was leaking, and as you can see, there's still a leak here. but it's not coming from the plug. You can kind of see in the valve cover there, right there. Focus. The valve cover gasket's leaking. And it's one of those one-piece silicone ones that should not ever leak. But being that I bought a cheap headset, which is something I never really do, but I did it, and that's why I'm suffering now. So I'm going to throw a rag back in that hole and just let it sop up the leak. It's a hell of a lot more minor than it was when the plug was leaking. And I still need to get in there and adjust the valves again. That one's still ticking. But we're doing pretty good. I haven't really noticed any oil consumption, maybe half a quart because of the leak probably. It doesn't smoke. It doesn't run hot. It always runs the exact same temperature all the time. I'm getting roughly 24.5 miles to the gallon, which is not great for one of these. I was really shooting for 30. But given that the Rambler is a barn door going down the highway, the aerodynamics lost. Still though, these Hondas are supposed to get 35 to 40. So we'll see. Performance wise, it's terrible. I mean, it's gutless, but it's really gutless. It's better than the Cricket, but you know, probably up there where the Courier is. Or I should say down there where the Courier is. So we seem to be doing pretty good. I mean, the car rides nice, it drives nice, it handles really well actually, and it stops really well. So I get out of another vehicle and I jump into this thing, and the first few times I hit the brakes, I'm damn near putting myself through the windshield. It's loud and obnoxious, which should be getting fixed before too long, probably not until after the first of the year. I just have to live with the fart can. So we're doing pretty good. A new wrinkle has popped up in the wiper situation. I had them working great, but now this one, it's still working, but it's got a lot of slop in the linkage. As you can see, that one's still moving. See, that's bottomed out. But somewhere in there, it's like it lost a bushing or something. It still works though, so it's not the end of the world. I'm not having any leaks on the windshield, thank God. The car body is leaking some though. I do document that. Got my seatbelt in, but I do need to replace that piece. So I got to pull the seat out to do it, and it's not really something I'm going to do here at work. I went through all the trouble putting the mirror in only to figure out that that mirror doesn't have the thermometer, so I had to order one. And then it fell off the next day, so I let that glue dry for a week and it still didn't stay. I need to clean this thing out. But we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Gotta do something with this door. I need to dig out all the caulk or seam sealer, so I'm getting a leak in here on both sides. But yeah, it's doing pretty good. So 1,000 miles later, there we are. All right, a few little jobs today. I'm kind of taking it easy. Need to remove the explosive charge in the inner seatbelt, so I can put the outer seatbelt on, and that will complete the seatbelt job, because that was the last pieces that were missing from the seatbelt itself. And then I want to play with this door a little bit more. Now I cleaned this windlass that was here. You can see along the top of the door there. I hate screwing with that on these old cars like this, because for whatever reason they use butyl, and a lot of times it's hard comes off in chunks, but then it seems like those chunks soften back up, and then you're left with this sticky car mess. And unfortunately, some of those pieces got on the seat, and now the seat has some black tarry caca on it. Like that piece right there needs to get scraped up, or it will transfer to my clothes, and then whatever else I sit on it will transfer to. So gotta deal with that really quick. Here we go. I do need to vacuum this thing up. All those metal shavings are rusting on the floor, and I don't want that to come back through the carpet. I guess is that the only piece? And I think that one was old and kind of hard. That's fresh. See, that was a hard chunk, and it's melted and become fresh again. Same here. A big chunk. See, it's hard, but then it'll melt again and make problems. Okay, so do that, and then the plan for this is I need to get a jack on it and have Luke out here holding it up and pull those hinges off, and then take a hammer and try to flatten out underneath them on both the door and the frame, put it back on, and try to get the door lifted as high as I can in the front, so that there's not a huge gap up here. And we obviously don't want it touching back here either, and we definitely don't want it touching here. So we need it to come forward, and we need the front to come up. That side, I think the front still needs to go up maybe a little bit, but it's pretty close, so we're just gonna leave it. I'm also, while the seat's out, gonna take the airbag sensor out of there and cut the right wires, not all of them. So, all right. I don't really see much of anything here. It looks flat, looks good, you know, but there, it looks like it's been pulled out. I don't know if you can really see it too well on the camera, but yeah, I'm gonna go look at the other door. Yeah, that's flat. That is totally flat. Okay, so we need to start with that then. So I showed you guys the Honda visors, and they kind of work, but not really. I could get the little hanger here, and then they would work up and down like a visor would need to, but if you needed to go sideways, nope, can't do it. And they don't fit the aesthetic. I mean, the interior's half Rambler and half Honda, but mostly the lower part is Honda and the upper part's Rambler. So I've got these visors. I'm not sure what they're off of. I don't even remember what the hell they came out of. They might have come, I think they actually came with the car. And these are the stalks. Actually, this is the one from this visor, but these are the stalks from the Rambler, and they fit here, barely. I mean, that bottom corner hardly fits at all, but you can see how that works up and down. Unfortunately, the hole here in the visor is much bigger than the Ramblers. However, I'm guessing this is a General Motors product. Pontiac, maybe? I don't know. When you eagle-eyed guys over there would probably be able to decode that part number. Anyway, I can actually re-drill these screw holes and make this visor work. I think I can make it work. Angle's a little off, but I could fix that. And so, you know, obviously it fits here. It's got this fun little thing on it. It's about unusable, but it's still pretty cool. It's GM. Yeah, and then I can just paint these to match the gray, I guess. I need to find some of the other colors. This is the driver's side. So, yeah, let me check. Nope, again, these ones aren't going to work for the same exact reason as the Hondas. The way they screw on, you can see what would happen. If you try to go to one side or the other, they have to be vertical, like so. And as you can see, they're crimped on there, so it's not like you can just change that. So these are going to get cleaned up, painted, mounted, and then I will figure out something for the actual visor part. But right now we're going to move on to the mirror. I did some kludge. I'm not sure how you pronounce that word, but yeah, I made something work. So I don't know how many of you, I'm sure plenty of you, have had the issues with the adhesive button on the rear view mirror mounted on the glass falling off. So I have had nothing but trouble with these things for the last couple decades, really. The one on the Courier, I mean, I'd put the stuff on there, wait a couple days, and it would fall off either as I was mounting the mirror or almost immediately thereafter. And so I finally got to the point where I put the button on there, I let it sit for a week or two, and then put the mirror on it, which was sucky. And then it would stay on there until the first cold snap, usually, or hot snap, and fall off. And I finally went through and I sanded the glass down. And I think it finally stayed. I might have used epoxy as well. I don't remember. So with this car, I put the button on there and I waited a day. Of course, it was a two-sided tape type of deal. It wasn't the typical adhesive because you can't get them anymore, at least in our store, with the button, and I needed the button. So I put it on there, and then, of course, as I'm trying to tighten up the mirror, it just comes right off. Clean everything up really well. Clean up the button really well. Buy the actual chemical adhesive. Put it together, let it sit for at least a week. Put it on, and it was fine for a while. And then the other day, I wired up the mirror. And the next day, I'm driving along, and all of a sudden it falls off. And, you know, the wires were there, so it just dangled on the wires. If not, it would have fallen completely off and probably broke. But it's frustrating. And I'm over here, you know, look at this stuff. So everything was cleaned up really, really well. But you can see it still will scratch off. So I didn't sand the glass down or anything, but yeah. But you see it had plenty of adhesive on it. So here's my fix. It's ugly, but it's gonna work. That button is steel, and I found this mirror bracket. I'm not 100% sure that it goes to this car, but it fits. So I just welded it to it, and it's ugly as all hell, but you can't see that actually. So let me throw the mirror on real quick and I'll show you. Now, of course, it's not tight. I still need to tighten the set screw, but there you go. We'll see if it doesn't interfere with the visors, but I don't care. I have a mirror. Now, I think I told you guys before, I don't remember about, I got this thing all in there and figured out that this one doesn't actually have the thermometer or the compass. So that should be here in a couple days. I found one, it's got a little crack on the corner, but I can always take this piece off and swap it. So yeah, that's my fix. Again, it's not the prettiest looking thing, but you know, it works. You really can't tell from there. You can only tell if you look way up here. So, I'm not complaining. Hell with it. It works. It's my car. Me. Okay, so I just spent the last few minutes with a really small screwdriver picking as much of the old sealer as I could out of these crevices. I'm getting water in the trunk, significant amount of water in the trunk. And you can see it's been a long time, it's been running down. I'm hoping that that takes care of it. Hopefully. So yeah, I need to blow them out really quick. And I'm gonna take a paintbrush. I'm gonna mask it all off, take a paintbrush and get that burgundy paint. Mix a little hardener into it and then dab it down into that crack and let it set up for a day. And then tomorrow or whatever, tomorrow I've got work, it's Thursday. I will caulk it or seam seal it. So hopefully that'll fix it. Now, a friend of mine owned a body shop up until very recently. I mean, he still owns it, but he decided to retire the actual body shop business. He gave me this strip of molding that I was supposed to use on the windshield, but it wouldn't work right. But it works perfect for this. Oh my God, it works great for this. Bam. Look at that. So that's going to stop quite a bit of the water from running down in there, and then hopefully rattles too. It's a little bit more loose back here than it is up there, and hopefully I won't have to glue it. So here, I got the paint stick wedged in there. That's about the only thing that made the rattle quit. So yeah, I'm gonna pop that back out of there and put that piece in. I got to thinking as I'm editing video. I didn't put out a video last week because I only had like 9 minutes of video to put out, and then this week, as I'm recording things, I'm trying to think of things to record, but it's like I keep coming up with stuff that I don't think anybody's really interested in. Like, I don't think you want 5 minutes of video of me trying to fix the rattle in this back window that's driving me nuts. You know, I don't think you guys care about me scraping that caca windlass, whatever it's pronounced, off. All this nasty, sticky crap. I don't think you guys really care about that. You know, the adjusting of this door here, fixing that might have been important because you might run into that on your own car. And as you saw in the video, at least on the bottom hinge, I don't remember if I videoed the top hinge, but they were both pulled out. And so now the door, it's a little low in the back. I can live with it, but it closes so much better, and that gap down there in the corner is so much tighter. So now if I put a weather strip in there, it'll actually work. But for the most part, I don't think you guys really care about that stuff. There's a lot to do on this car, but it's all little crap, you know? These turn signal things here, I don't think that's all that important, but it kind of demonstrates I didn't put enough thought into this when I put it up. Like, okay, for instance, when I started that, I didn't have a dashboard for this car. So I went out to my buddy's junkyard. He had a 4-door. I got the dashboard from him, and I started modifying it without really test fitting it in considering all that. So what I missed is the angle that this dashboard's at. I basically built everything with the thought of it being straight up and down. I didn't actually notice that it was at an angle. So when everything got all said and done, and then my head being up here looking down at the gauges there, which is actually quite a bit lower. Well, I mean, in the Rambler, that's where you'd be looking at them, but in the Honda, the gauges would be way the hell up here. So it actually made it worse. But that kind of thing, you know, little pitfalls that you need to watch out for when you're doing your own project. You know, these things down here, you can't get rid of any of that. It's got to stay, so you got to make a cover to do it. So how do you make the cover? Do you come up this way with it? Maybe. Do you come down this way with it? Maybe. That's probably the way I'm going to go. You know, kind of tie it to this a little bit, not all the way this far out, but, you know. And that's what I'll do here, especially since I've got these two brackets here. Let's either cut those off or utilize them. But I don't know that anybody really wants to see that. Be like, hey, I'm going to fill this in. You know, make these panels to fill that in. I'm going to do it, and then I'll show you the end result, and then maybe that's as much as you want to see. I don't think anybody wants to see the process. There's a lot to do, and winter is coming. But I'm out of time. The bigger problem is I need to work on the house. We need to get moved into our house, and I need to not work on the project so much here. The paperwork is coming in for the tracker, but it's too late for me to have it roadworthy before winter. I can work on it here and there, but I really need to work on the house. And this is a car channel. I don't know how many of you guys are going to be interested in looking at me working on house stuff, but I'm going to film it and post it anyway because I got to have content. But I don't know. It's going to be lean here, you know, for a while until I get some of these things organized. You know, I need to get an engine and put in the Courier. I need to finish the dashboard project in the Cricket. I need to get the tracker on the road. I need to get the Cherokee sold. I need to get the Mazda sold. Lots of things. But for right now, I'm going to go get the mail. And then we'll get on a couple of these little projects.